Happy Monday, everybody. What is going on? Let us do another installment of the Art of War. And today we are on chapter 4, verses 3 and 4, as a matter of fact. So I read a little bit ahead, mainly because when you look at it, there's two right there, and these two really, they just go hand in hand. Thus, the good fighter is able to secure himself against defeat, but cannot make certain of defeating the enemy. Hence the saying, one may know how to conquer without being able to do it. So that says a couple of things to me, but before we dive into my interpretation for how to do so in a business and personal sense, for your own life and things like that, the pocketbook version with Du Mu, Zhang Yu, Cao Cao, and Ho Shanqi Yang Qi. There's Du Mu and Du Yu. Anyway, Master Sun says, therefore skillful warriors are able to be invincible, but they cannot cause opponents to be vulnerable. That is why it is said that victory can be discerned but not manufactured. So, in response to verse 3, Du Mu says, if opponents have no formation to find out, no gap or slack to take advantage of, how can you overcome them even if you are well equipped? Zhang Yu says, if you hide your form, conceal your tracks, and always remain strictly prepared, then you can be invulnerable yourself. If the forms of strength and weakness of opponents are not outwardly manifest, then how can you be assured of victory over them? In regards to verse 4, Cao Cao, Cao Cao, victory can be discerned to the extent that you see a set formation, but to the extent that the enemy has preparations, it cannot be manufactured. In other words, if you see the weakness, take advantage of it. But if the enemy is prepared, you can't force a victory. Du Mu said, you can only know if your own strength is sufficient to overcome an opponent. You cannot force the opponent to slack off to your advantage. Du Yu says, when you have assessed the opponent and seen the opponent's formation, then you can tell who will win. If the opponent is inscrutable and formless, then you cannot presume victory. The victory that can be known is up to you, meaning that you are prepared. This is Ho Shanqi, by the way. Ho Yanqi. The victory that cannot be manufactured is up to the opponent, meaning that the opponent has no form. Alright, so there's a lot that speaks to me in these two verses. And I really thought that they went together in the sense of the last couple of ones, you can figure out a little bit about what's going on and they're kind of independent, but I just felt like these two belong together. And the one that really stuck out to me was Du Mu in response to that is why it is said that victory can be discerned but not manufactured. When he said, you can only know if your strength is sufficient to overcome an opponent. And my thoughts on this, my little book, my little reflection book, you can research, you can take all the time you need, but when it comes time for action, success is never guaranteed. You can, and you should prepare, plan, research, and train, etc., whatever the situation might be, whether it's, training for a marathon, or planning to start a business, or planning to launch a new product line, or something in that regards. You should do everything that you can do, but especially if the market is unknown, right? The enemy is formless. If the market is unknown, or that the market has barriers to entry, then you can't force victory. You can't force your way in without great cost to your own self, your own army. You can't force things to conform to you. So that brought me to a quote: "The reasonable man adapts himself to the world, an unreasonable man persists in adapting the world to him. Therefore, all progress relies on the unreasonable man." And, while that's a great quote, very insightful, we don't want to be the unreasonable man trying to make the world comply to our hopes and dreams. We want to be able and ready to adapt and prepared for when the time comes, because when things change and new situations arise and we have to be adaptable and we have to be flexible and our 5-year plan falls apart, we can't force it back together. You can only control yourself. You can only control your own strength, right? Like Dumu said, you can only control what there is to be controlled. And going back to the other verses of 1 and 2, skillful warriors made themselves invincible. Invincibility is in oneself. It's a matter of discipline of what you do, how you treat your body by exercising, by what you eat, by what you feed it information-wise, and then that in turn is going to be what helps you overcome obstacles when they arise. You can do everything in your power and your mindset and your will, but the outcome shall not be forced. It just simply will not. So I hope you guys enjoyed some of those reflections. Next week, we're going to go on to 5. This one looks good. And then we're going to just keep working our way through 4. And then on the last day of the month, which I've got 5 days, but force is for May. May the force be with you. So number 5 force. How funny is that works out? So let's bookmark this, and I hope y'all enjoyed that. If I said anything that really stuck out to you, please leave it in the comments for others to react to and reply to. And thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this, please smash that like button and hit subscribe so you know when I release the new ones and the new episodes are coming out. And thank you all for tuning in. Away I go.